help us. Because when I go, I'm all alone. If you look at your children carefully, and your parents and your brothers carefully, they belong to Allah before they were even connected to you. But Allah used you to bring them into existence in order to fulfill the bigger plan that He has. That's what it is. But otherwise, Allah owns your child and you do not. Do you know that? Because you have to look after that gift of Allah as a test from Allah in order to earn paradise through that gift of Allah. I have a child temporarily known as my child here in this world. Inshallah, if I use that temporary opportunity to prepare for heaven, I will be getting Jannah solely because of my sacrifice. Same applies with marriage. You're married to someone, it's temporary. But you can eternalize it in certain ways, if Allah wills. Subhanallah. For now, subhanallah, I need to use this gift of Allah that I have by treating her or him in such a way that I earn Jannah. I prepare for my afterlife. It's a sacrifice. It's not easy. And we tell people, and now we need to tell them more and more because materialism is taking over. And we tell people, you know what? Marriage is a big sacrifice, a huge sacrifice. Without sacrifice, you won't achieve anything. Subhanallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to sacrifice in a way that He is pleased with us. So let's prepare for the day we are put down, when our families will return. And what is left? The hadith speaks of how when a person is, in the form of a janazah, in the form of a dead person being carried, who follows this person? Family, wealth, deeds following this person. They're buried and some things go back and some things stay. What goes back? The family goes back. Before you know it, your wife is married again. Subhanallah. Allahu Akbar. It reminds me, and I must pause for a moment on a lighter note. It reminds me of a person who was really upset in his marriage and so on, and they were not happy. And so something happened, and so the relationship began to improve, and they were working on it and what have you. So the man asks his wife, if I die, will you marry again? That's a question. Imagine, people make their promises as much as they want, but you do not know the circumstances of your spouse. Say, for example, you died and your spouse is struggling so much and they need some form of help. No one's coming to help them. They wouldn't be wrong to marry again. In fact, it's encouraged to marry again. Subhanallah. But at the same time, listen to what the spouse says. The woman says, when the husband says, will you marry again? So she says, no. So what will you do? I'll just stay with my sister. Okay, wow, good answer. And a little while later she asks, what about you? Will you marry again? He says, no. So what will you do? I'll also just stay with your sister. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us ease. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us. We're ready to make a plan for when our spouse is dying, but we haven't made a plan for when we die. Have you thought of what I'm saying? We make a plan, we already know if she dies, hey, I've got another 2-3 lined up, mashallah. And we don't know, brother, you're dying before her. Subhanallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to prepare. May Allah help us to prepare, really. This is something that we need to think about. So I was saying, your deeds are the only things that remain with you. Otherwise your wealth goes back, your children are fighting over it, they've stopped talking to each other over it, they have broken the family into 20 pieces over your wealth. Ask those whom this has happened to, they will confirm, yes, it's correct. And what has happened? That wealth, had you not left it, perhaps your family might have been closer bonded than now that you had a lot of wealth. I know of people who've had nothing, and after the death, the family is so close, mashallah. And I know of people who've had so much that when the person passes away, someone is trying to rob this one, and the other one is denying that one, and this one is claiming his share of inheritance, and the other one comes and say, that was mine, and I worked with dad, and I did this, and it was me, and debates go on. Yes, there are exceptions to that. There are people who've died, mashallah, wealthy, and even their children, mashallah, have been happy thereafter. But the message here is what you've amassed in terms of wealth, and what you have had in terms of relatives. You've had 20, 30, 50 children. Trust me, they will go back. Before you know it, they will forget you. Look, we are seated here. How many of you know your 7th forefather? I don't know why they call them forefathers. One day when I was young, I used to think the reason why they call them forefathers is you can only remember up to 4 of them. After that, you can't remember. That's a forefather. You remember your forefathers? You say, yes, all 4 of them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us. But one wonders, it's a fact, you will not remember your forefathers. How many of us know 7 generations back? But they were important people. You are from their lineage and you don't even know about them. Why? You are their family. But they went, they left you behind, gone. The wealth that they had, well, too late, subhanallah. You might have a piece of land somewhere in one of the rural areas of some place you come from. That was your ancestral land. Big deal, no one wants you there today. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us goodness, really. So what happens is, the thing that comes with you, your deeds come in the form of people sometimes. The hadith has different descriptions. The deeds come in the form of a protection for you. That's your deed. That's your deed. What did you do?